Hello! Today we're going to be talking about charcoal, and hopefully I'll be able to give you a few tips and tricks on using a medium that scares a lot of people, but hopefully by the end of this you'll understand the medium a little bit better. Okay, so here we have three types. This is called vine charcoal, this is compressed charcoal, and this is a compressed white charcoal. You can also get charcoal in pencil form, which is easier to control. You can get some sharper lines that way, but I'm just going to show you these three for right now. First of all, the difference between these charcoals, if you look at the vine, it's usually very round, and if you can see, it actually looks kind of like a burnt stick, so it's easier to kind of pick out than the other ones. It also has a very light and airy feeling to it, and when you draw on a piece of paper with it, it is also very light in terms of its visual effects. So I'm just going to show you really quickly. You can see how light it is on this paper here. So it's best to use it in sketching and planning out your drawings. And then if there's any like really light values that you want to use and put in your drawing, vine charcoal is the best for it. So watch what happens when I try to smudge it. It basically wipes away. It does not hold to regular paper very well. If you have textured paper, it would hold a lot better. So if I blend it and smooth it out, you see it's very, very light value. The next one, compressed charcoal. You'll see a difference whenever I draw this on there. This one is very dense, and as you can see, it's a lot darker than the vine charcoal. And then here's what happens when I blend this one out. And you can get it to look very smooth. You can see that I can just keep going for a long time. I've just created a value scale there. So it is very useful to get really dark values, and as you can see, like, you can get light values with it as well. You just have to be a little bit more careful with it. The third one, the white one that I'm going to show you, and my hands are like super dirty now, so hopefully it won't turn gray. And by the way, I'm doing this on just regular blue copy paper. So not the best of drawing papers, but you know, it works for the purpose of this demonstration. The white charcoal is even harder and compressed than the compressed charcoal. And you can also blend it, but it doesn't blend as smoothly. You can still see some streaks where I colored it in there. So overall, you can get a lot of different effects with it, and you can layer as well. So if you want highlights in something, the white is very effective and going on top of that, and you can blend it in to create different values that way. Okay, so now that you know a little bit more about the medium itself, we are now going to talk about techniques that you could do with it. The first technique that I would like to go over with you is just a basic blending technique. Okay, so when it comes to blending, you could do something just basically what I did earlier, where you are making a dark value and trying to merge it into lighter values. So what I'm doing, and this works with like graphite pencil as well, or almost any dry media. So what I'm doing is, at the top where it is darker, I was pressing harder. I was giving the charcoal more pressure. And then as I got further down, I started lightening up on my pressure. Now the charcoal, the compressed charcoal that I just used, there's a lot to it. So as you can see, like I'm just continuing, it keeps going. And eventually it'll run out of value and get lighter to that. Okay? And you can see it's very smooth. And then you could probably also see that we've got a lot of powder around the edge as well. First of all, tip, don't blow it away, because that creates a lot of dust in the air around you. The best thing to do is have a trash can nearby and then just shake it off into the trash can. To add to this, in terms of blending, you could take another piece of charcoal, like the white charcoal, and start going the opposite direction. Once again, I'm lightening up on my pressure as I'm getting more towards the middle. And you can see this does make your fingers dirty, so you might want to keep a wet rag next to you or have access to a sink where you can wash your hands when they get too dirty. I'm just going to go the opposite direction now. I'm going to blend it and smooth this out into the charcoal. And then you can just keep working it in the middle there until you get the desired amount of blending that you wanted. The next technique we're going to talk about is hatching and cross-hatching. Okay, so I'm going to start out with hatching. Hatching is just making parallel lines side by side with each other. You can see that as I'm rotating this, I'm using the corners of the compressed charcoal. They will eventually go dull, so you gotta work with what you got. Sometimes you can take something and kind of sharpen the edges like sandpaper or something over the trash can, potentially. But you just keep going like this, and then if you want to create a value with it, the further apart your lines are versus the closer they are, it will create a darker value versus a lighter value. Now if I wanted to use cross-hatching, it is lines that go across each other. So again, using parallel lines, kind of going in the opposite direction, like so. And you could even go another way if you wanted to, like that. Cross-hatching can create some really cool textures. Fur, grass, whatever you're going for that uses straight lines, or maybe like a hatched type of texture in fabric of any kind. It's very effective that way. The next one we've got is side stroke, which is basically just using the side of the charcoal instead of the top of the charcoal. So charcoal can be pretty brittle at times, and it tends to break. This one actually, you can see that it's already broken, and you can just snap that there. A lot of artists actually prefer to work with shorter pieces of charcoal, so that's not an issue if it breaks. Don't be sad if your charcoal breaks. So side stroke is taking the long edge of it and going across like this. Now that didn't work very well. It should be picking up all the sides, but I guess it has a curved part to it. Okay, here we go. Gotta wear it down a little bit. So it's taking the side and going across like that. It again has kind of a cool texture to it, and you can do quite a bit with that. You can go over it to make it darker. you can use your finger to blend it out. And even when it's blended, you can see that it still kind of has a splotchy, textured effect to it. So it gives it a rough looking effect. You could even, and I don't know if it'll work since this one is a little bit hard, you could even take the side of the white charcoal and add it on top, and you can see what that does. It's a little bit, the lighting is not that great. I hope you can see that a little bit right there. But yeah, using the side of your charcoal is very effective. It covers large areas at a time, and again can produce a pretty cool texture. Next up we have feathering, which if done properly can produce kind of a feathery effect. Alright, so I'm going to show you two different versions of this. One you might call pointillism or something different, but it's pretty much the same effect as feathering, but a little bit smaller. First I'll show you the longer strokes. So feathering starts off similar to hatching. But you blend other colors in with it. So right here I'm using the white. You can see it's kind of smoothing everything out a little bit as we go. Getting some different values in there again creates a little bit different, a different kind of texture than what you may be used to drawing. The other way you can do it is with the short little strokes. So if you've got a little bit of something, another kind of texture you're going for, you can do that, and again adding on a little bit of a different color. If you ever use soft pastels, this works great for layering different colors together. And you can kind of see how that looks there. I'll bring it up closer to the camera where maybe you can see it better. So yeah, that one is pretty cool. Last but not least, we have layering. For layering, I'm going to create two spheres, and I'm going to try and go pretty quick with these, so they may not be perfect. Layering uses some techniques of blending. Remember that compressed charcoal smears a lot, so I'm going to stop there and just use the excess to create the lighter values. Okay, and I need to create a highlight. So I can go over this black charcoal with the white and kind of blend that out together. But you see how it really just goes in to what's already there. It doesn't stay very strong. It gets blended in with all of the black, which poses a problem if you're trying to get really bright highlights. Okay, and right here I've created another one, and what I'm going to show you now, because this one is the same way I did that one, is I'm going to layer it with hairspray. Okay, so now my fixative is dry, and I just want to show you the difference of what it does. I rub my finger across, hardly anything on it, and then I go across this one, a lot comes off on it.